climate change, the war in Afghanistan, pollution, and even drug wars as being the most prominent issues that our global community is facing today. And if you said any of these, I would strongly encourage you to go out there and do something about it. But for me, the problem that I'm most passionate about is also very personal to me. Let me explain. So as we were gathering here today, I saw a wide variety of people from different ethnicities, different backgrounds, different lifestyles, different styles of clothing. And you know what? It made me happy. Many of you speak different languages, come from different parts of the city, different parts of the province, and even different parts of the country. I know I flew in from Montreal. You may already even have a certain perception about the person sitting behind you, in front of you, next to you, whether that is through a personal experience or an image put forth by the media. It seems as if a day doesn't go by where you hear the news about someone being targeted because of their religion, their status, or their lifestyle. Instead of meeting new people, we're starting to form cliques with our own kind of people. So what exactly is this global problem that I'm talking about? Simply put it is a lack of understanding and celebration of diversity. Diversity is embracing one's own culture while soaking in what others have to offer. You can refer to it as an analogy of a sponge. Soak in everything that you can and squeeze yourself over others. It is about creating an inclusive environment full of different people. Diversity is one concept that I've been learning about my entire life. So 11 years ago, my parents decided to move from Punjab, India to the beautiful city of Vancouver. I remember stepping out of the airport and just looking around at the vast differences in people. At that time, I was an 8-year-old who wasn't exposed as much to the world as I am today. I knew that I was in for a shock. I started midway in the school year with Caucasian students who I was looking forward to becoming friends with. However, they teased me about the way that I talked with an Indian accent, the way that I wore my shirts with my buttoned up shirts, and for being an assisted English learner. I was calmly told about Canada being a mosaic model, accepting everyone. But this was definitely not what I was feeling. So as my parents bought a new house and I moved schools next year, I went into a class with nearly all South Asians. And you know what? I was so happy because I finally started to feel like I fit in. But I noticed a problem. There were a few Aboriginal students in my class who were not being treated respectfully. And this really bothered me, because I knew the feeling of isolation and being alone, just like how they were feeling. And I made it my mission to befriend them. And what we did was we organized an Aboriginal week at school. Again, my friends teased me. Why are you trying to help them? Why are you trying to learn about their culture? But I stood up for myself. I stood up for my Aboriginal friends and made it happen. At the beginning of the assembly, I was the only South Asian dancing up on stage with all my Aboriginal friends. But by the end, the entire school was up on their feet and joining in on the dance. Due to my efforts, the tension and indifference amongst the races was split on the playground. My teacher had told me that I had left a legacy, and I never even knew about it. This just gets to show you that you can help others without even knowing sometimes. Because I was in grade 7 at that time, and I had no clue that I was actually making a huge impact in my society. And I thought that this problem would stop here, and that it would be the end of discrimination. But then entered the life of high school. I realized that a lot of cliques were being formed. Elementary school friends started becoming adversaries and entered the phase of trying to be cool. And I know that all the kids out here are probably feeling that as well and trying to fit into society. But I took it to my mission to try to solve this problem. And what I did was I created a club called Students Without Borders. And my main message was to get students from different cliques, different backgrounds, and different lifestyles for one goal, which was to raise $5,000 to build a well in Kenya through Free the Children. So I chose Kenya as a choice of country because I wanted to expose the students to a lifestyle and a world that they're not familiar with. And in a few months, actually 4, we tripled the amount that we had set up for. So instead of $5,000, we raised $15,000 with a group of individuals that I had not met before. And we all came together towards one common goal. As you can see, diversity is the onset of an open mind. You expose yourself to individuals and lifestyles that are not similar to yours. And as soon as I graduated from high school, the day actually, I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to see people that are living in poverty. I wanted to feel how they're feeling. So I decided to tell my parents that I'm going to Ghana and India for the summer. And as you can see, parents might not have taken it too well at the time, as I was 17 years old. While Canada may be known as one of the friendliest places to live in, I believe that Ghana is definitely on par with Canada in this category. I became a teacher for little children. I became an assistant nurse, assisting with 2 surgeries. And I became a role model for my little brother. What more can I really ask for? But at the same time, people in Ghana taught me a lot about their lifestyle, such as this young man who's carrying a water basket on his head. And he has been carrying this the whole day, as that's what he was telling me. And as you can see, the pressure is probably so much on his head, but he's doing this to make an income for his family. And so I tried this. I went back to the house that I was staying at, and I put the water basket on my head. And yes, in this picture, you can see it on my head. And as soon as the picture was done, it toppled over. So I realized that people in Ghana are living a harsh lifestyle, but they always have a positive attitude. And learning about their lifestyles is what made me happy. While Ghana taught me a lot about myself and about their culture, I also tried to teach them about the Canadian lifestyle. So I took some pins, Canadian pins, over to Ghana. And luckily, I was there on July 1st, on 2012. And I wanted to teach the kids about Canada Day. So we sang the national anthem. I brought them these Canadian pins. And the girls, like Sandra on your right, were actually starting to wear the pins in their earrings. Not a good idea, but again, they're kids. And I also brought a parachute. I brought lots of games for the kids because I knew that I wanted to show them something about Canada. So I think many of you are familiar with parachute. So it's just a piece of cloth. The kids were so shocked that they can go under the piece of cloth and actually play with it. I was pretty shocked as well because in Canada we have everything. And they're so happy with a piece of cloth. I then went over to India for 2 months. And I volunteered at Pingalwara, a haven for the destitute, and also the school for the deaf. There, I learned so much about my lifestyle that was back in India, and I still keep to myself. And I got to witness amazing kids who have transformed my life, such as these 2 guys, who you might not think, but are deaf. Their lifestyles and their optimism in life showed me that there's such a greater path to life than materialistic items. And one person that really changed my life was this woman, or at least I should say a girl. She's 11 years old, Jyoti. So please watch this video. Jyoti. 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 Good. Hi. 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 Yeah, good job. Bye. 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 Good job. Say hello. 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 Low. Low. Hello.
Good job.
So as you can see, you don't even need to know the same language in order to make new friends. Clearly, Jyoti and I communicated perfectly, and I ended up being a brother for her. And as soon as my amazing summer was done, I was ready for freshman university. And there I met the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. Not like high school or elementary where they were so closed-minded. People in university were so open-minded. And I met leaders like nothing beyond. And they were all ready to change the world, just like how I was. And we noticed one common problem, which is homelessness. Whether you're in Montreal, in Vancouver, in India, or anywhere else in the world, you will see people on the streets. And the first assumption that we make is that they ended up there due to a drug addiction. But by first seeking to understand and then to be understood, we can eliminate possible biases about a person. So what I did was I joined a campaign at my university in McGill in Montreal called 5 Days for the Homeless. Along with many other leaders, I got to experience how it felt to live on the streets. Temperatures reaching negative 20 degrees. Yes, negative 20, not -5 or 0 degrees where Vancouverites feel so cold. Negative 20 degrees. Our stomachs were growling, our heads aching, but an experience that I will never forget. It doesn't matter if you have a few $100s or millions to say. Ending up on the street can happen to anyone. We need to diversify our minds and help out anyone we can without labeling them first. Their stories about life can be a valuable asset in expanding your horizon. I had time to reflect on all these diversifying events in my life when I went on a week-long bike journey in June across 14 different cities and visiting 27 different schools to talk about diversity. I rode alongside 10 talented leaders, from single parents to city councilors and the deputy chief of the police and broadcasters. They all walked in from different lifestyles. They all walked in from different professions, different backgrounds, and especially different age groups. But by the end of my cycling trip, they were the family that I'd never even heard about before. As you can see, diversity is again the onset of an open mind. After this amazing summer of 2013, and teaching kids about not being discriminatory, not treating others badly, respecting others, I was ready for second year of university. And then I heard this news. I have now been living in Quebec for 2 years. And despite living in Canada for 11 years, Quebec has decided, or is in the process of deciding, a law that is highly discriminatory called the Quebec Charter of Values. And while it saddens me, it doesn't discourage me. Because I know that there will be supporters out there who are willing to take action to stop this, such as the McGill principal, Dr. Suzanne Fortier, or the McGill Dean of Medicine, Dr. David Ilman, and Justin Trudeau, to name a few. So, find your passion and stay positive even when things around you don't. If your passion is climate change, and you get 1,000 people to sign a waiver of not driving a car for a week, don't let it discourage you if the climate change projections don't suddenly turn around. Because you are making a difference. And they do make a difference. So this year, new Quebec Charter values or not, I will again be sleeping outside for the homeless of the highly diverse city and highly diverse province that I'm proud to live in. Diversity without inclusion is an ingredients list without a recipe. Diversity does not automatically produce intercultural understanding or an environment free from discrimination. Every day, an immigrant faces obstacles in securing a job based on their name or foreign experience. Every day, a youth faces racism based on his or her skin color. Every day, Society points the finger to those who are different. But we can do much better than this. With a recipe for intercultural dialogue, understanding, and exposure. Inclusive communities require intention, commitment, and opportunities to better understand one another. I must change, and so too must each and every single one of you who struggles to accept others because they are different. At the end of the day, there is one race, the human race. Let us celebrate together. Whatever your passion is, whatever problem you hope to solve, know that by doing something positively or even trying to, you're making a promise, you're making a difference in the lives of real people. Just like I had on Jyoti, or my Aboriginal friends, or my friends in Ghana. While this hasn't solved all of the world's diversity problems, it has made it just a little better. You all have the power to build bridges over borders. Thank you.